Reporting from GenCon 2018, here is Mark Arnaldo. We are at the booth of AEG, where they're presenting a couple of very interesting games. One that caught my eye was War Chest, and Todd has agreed to tell us a little bit about this game. Thank you, Todd.
Oh, thank you, Marco. So War Chest is a bag-building tactical game. You have chips that represent your army units that are going to be in your bag. You draw 3 every turn, and then you go back and forth playing them to do various things. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is control a certain number of control points on the board. Once you have that number achieved, depending on how many people are playing, you win the game. It is a one-on-one or a two-on-two team game. So there's always going to be 2 armies against each other. When the game begins, there's 16 possible units. They have different abilities or different effects they can do, and you draft 4 of them. So you're always going to have different armies every time you play. And that's where the real strategy comes in, is figuring out how do I make my army work. You know, I've got archers and I've got cavalry and I've got berserkers. You know, how do I need to play this to take over this territory?
So each game you will have a different composition of 4 types of units in your army.
Correct.
I like
Correct.
that.
And the way the game plays also deals heavily in what's in the bag. So when you draw your chips out, there's a few things you can do, and I won't go into the whole thing, but you can discard any chip face down to take 1 chip from your reserve, the ones you didn't put in the bag originally, and put it in your discard. So then you'll be able to get that unit back in the bag when your bag's empty. Then you can take any unit face up and deploy it on the board. This is just playing the unit. You can then discard any matching chips. So let's say that I have my cavalry on the board.
Can we take a look?
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
we can see from the pieces as they are
Here, I'm
used.
just chatting about it. So yeah, so let's assume that I had the scout on the board represented by the little crow.
The crow.
If I were to discard an exact copy of that, another scout, I could move that scout a direction. If an
So
enemy...
a cheat can be either an actual unit or an action cheat or an activation
for
cheat.
that same unit. Yes. Now, if you notice, the heavy cavalry is adjacent to the archers. If you had a heavy cavalry chip, you could discard it to make the heavy cavalry attack those archers that are adjacent. You don't move into their space, you just remove them from the board. Now, when a chip is removed from the board by being attacked, it's permanently removed. So there is attrition throughout the game. You're going to have less and less chips available to you as the game goes on. The skill in the game comes from just being able to use those to back each other up and use them properly. The only other major thing to mention is that if you have a face-up chip that matches a unit on the field, you can place it on top of that matching chip. We call it bolstering, but it's basically like being crowned in checkers. This basically provides you a second hit point. If you get hit, you lose one of the chips, but you still hold that position.
Nice. And the chits the components are really nice. They are thick, they're like poker chip size, and
yes, they have a real nice matte finish.
Nice looking, the poker chips though.
We spent a lot of time trying to make sure that they were some of the best we could make.
They really are. They're nice to look at and very nice to hold and move around. Well, the board also is simple, but very clean, very readable, but also very pleasant. I like the palette. So the game has been released here and it's sold out already at GenCon, right?
It did indeed. It sold out before Sunday. It sold out Saturday afternoon, and we will have it in stores within the next several weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks. It should be at your local retailer.
Excellent. That sounds great. War Chest released by AEG here at GenCon 2018. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Marco.